And, good morning, everybody. Well, it might be afternoon by the time this finally gets uploaded, so good afternoon. In any case, on this channel, we've already discussed in detail the extreme complexity and or, shall we say, misinformation, the notion, the false implications, of course, that Vladimir Putin is associated with the World Economic Forum. We've already discussed this in the previous videos. We've seen that Vladimir Putin, rather than take the World Economic Forum's goals to his own nation, he chose instead to imitate them and refashion this organization, the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, and to make it for Russians themselves to interact with the international community. So, just to clear the air, just to solidify, we're going to go through an article written by Rahim Kassam, doing what I can only describe as the Lord's work. You see, this woman up here is in a video that I'm not going to be able to play because my software does not allow that at this time. But if you've seen this image, you know what's happening. She is standing in front of Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, and berating him for not going and declaring war on Ukraine, or upon Russia in Ukraine. I had to correct myself because Boris would not be declaring war against Ukraine. He would be declaring war against Russia, who has made it very clear that they don't want any other outside involvement. They just want to deal with Ukraine, which is reasonable, understanding their position in the geopolitical sphere. The crying journalist demanding Boris drags Britain to war is a Biden-linked World Economic Forum global leader. She's not a journalist. Now, this woman was posing as a journalist asking questions to the Prime Minister of the UK in the video which Kassam is referring to. She is an activist working for the same interests who started the conflict in 2014. Now, what do we remember about 2014? That was when Putin kicked George Soros out of his country. And this woman is not just linked to the World Economic Forum, she is a known activist who worked on the Biden campaign. We're reading this article now. On Tuesday morning, journalist Daria Kaleniuk is how I'm going to pronounce that. Well, actually, Daria Kaleniuk, you are now known as Karen. We're going to call her Karen because, well, she behaved like a fucking Karen. Karen confronted British Prime Minister Boris Johnson demanding NATO enters the war in Ukraine despite massive public objections to Western nations becoming involved. Because NATO's already said we don't want to get involved in this anymore. Although there might be some breaking news that Ukraine is being accepted as a NATO ally. So we'll see exactly where that goes. Karen, however, is scarcely the journalist Western media outlets are portraying. Instead, the National Pulse can reveal Karen is a longtime political activist recently used in the Joe Biden 2020 campaign. Additionally, Karen serves as a World Economic Forum Global Young Leader, the same organization, the same program that Putin was a part of, that he had since left and divorced himself from, made his own World Economic Forum for Russia, and was then unpersoned on the World Economic Forum's website as anyone close resembling to an ally or apprenticeship. He had a profile on the World Economic Forum, but he's been unpersoned. The link no longer goes anywhere. It says, "Oh, page you were looking for no longer here." The World Economic Forum is led by Germany economist Klaus Schwab and has become infamous for global intervention around the world, including but not limited to the Great Reset, with its idea of abolishing property ownership at its core. You're coming to Poland, you're not coming to Kiev, Prime Minister. You're not coming to Kiev, Karen said in her remarks that were lauded by the international press. She says it's because that he's afraid, because NATO is not willing to defend, because NATO is afraid of World War III, but it has already started. This is the World Economic Forum telling the Prime Minister of the UK and every other like Western leader, we've already decided that this war is going to happen. And we're going to make a big stink about it. We're going to make psyops about it. And then she then continued to use children. These are Ukrainian children who are taking the hit, as opposed to grown Western men taking the hit for these Ukrainian children who were in a community, in a country, who didn't give a damn about their well-being enough to consider the fact of, oh, if we join NATO, what's going to happen with Russia? For that, the children didn't matter when the Ukraine were considering what to do with NATO and how Russia might react. The children didn't matter then. Suddenly they matter now. You're talking about more sanctions, but Roman Abramovich is not sanctioned. He's in London. His children are not in bombardments. His children are there in London. Putin's children are in the Netherlands, in Germany, in mansions. Where are all these mansions? Yeah. Where are all these mansions seized? Karen has trouble speaking. That was not me having a problem reading the line. Those were, in fact, her words. Where are all these mansions seized? I don't see that. This is the unintelligible way of Karen trying to demand the seizure of mansions, apparently. While crying, she said, my family members, my team members are saying we are crying. We don't know where to run. This is what is happening, Prime Minister. Yeah, you're an acolyte. You're a globalist. You're a Davos shill. We know your team is crying, and no one should give a shit about you. Karen featured as a Joe Biden supporter in an ABC News interview from 2019, after which she was used in a Joe Biden campaign video posted January 21st in 2020. She was also listed on the World Economic Forum website in 2019 in their Global Young Leaders program, which has also featured war-supporting globalists such as Justin Trudeau, Dan Crenshaw, Emmanuel Macron, and Vladimir Putin, who's been unpersoned on the website, who built his own economic forum for Russia in his own country. The news follows a number of exposés into false reports being spread by Western media since the onset of the invasion of Ukraine by the Russian government. So, this is going to be, is Vladimir Putin an agent of the World Economic Forum Part 2? Because we're getting more and more evidence that the World Economic Forum is declaring war on Putin, who has probably gone rogue at this time. Just some more food for thought, people. Stay carnal and God bless.